Alright people, welcome back to more Return to the Jungle action. This time around we got game on Northern Isle. Of course this is round 1, as I like to repeat 100 times. So we got Gamebhai or GB spawning over here as the green undead bottom left, and he will be playing up against NoobyXD spawning at the top right as the pink undead, and we already have some ping issues. Well, they got similar ping, so I guess we're gonna have to go ahead with it. Sadly, BattleNet is giving some ping issues as of late. It's just a thing that we have to deal with at times. And are they gonna do a re or are they gonna do a proceed? Continue, there we go. Sure, Sav, you should join our tournament sometime. I host this like every second weekend. Usually Saturday, sometimes Sunday. I'll be looking into it, looking at the other tournament schedules and stuff. Since this isn't a money tournament and it's mainly for fun, you do have to look into some timings and stuff which can allow some people who like to participate in cash tournaments to also participate in. So NoobyXD is pink on right, GB is green as I've mentioned earlier. We got Death Knight coming in for GB, NoobyXD going for the late hero build, of course, Crypt first, and a Scout Acolyte heading in towards GB's base. So this is of course Northern Isle, and NoobyXD going for a Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord of course has some very welcoming changes with the Carrion Beetle. You could call it a buff, I wouldn't really call it a nerf at all, and that does increase its usability and also gives you a bit more dynamics when it comes to undead versus undead matchups. A really surprising thing about this particular meta which is going on right now in today's WarCraft is that mirror matches usually have some interesting stuff going on. You wouldn't see an actual mirror go on in a mirror match. You'll see dynamics. You'll see something like Crypt Lord versus Death Knight, which we are about to see right now. GB actually is rushing towards NoobyXD's base. He doesn't want to wait for anything. He want to go there and deal some damage. Once you find a frog critter, gonna kill that thing first, get some skeleton warriors and go in there, try to get some jacks on the creeps. Of course, since NoobyXD has gone for the Crypt Lord first, he will be going in for the usual strategy that also implies with mass ghouls, as it implies to what do you call it, the Dreadlord. It requires an expansion to come in, and what do we have here? GB is on the base of NoobyXD. He wants to go in and try to deal some damage inside the base, it appears, while NoobyXD trying to creep out the expansion. Sav usually has a 25-man raid 2 PM US time. Ooh, I see. Yes, I can understand that. NoobyXD will be able to set up this expansion pretty much uncontested from what I understand. GB trying to send in some skeleton warriors and attack the acolytes and stuff. This should give off to GB that this is definitely a rather unusual build. And looking at the Necropolis not going tier 2 just yet, he should figure this out by now that there is an expansion coming in, and whenever the undead players go for the expansion, they usually go with Dreadlord or Crypt Lord, which is the kind of a new thing going on. So we're actually gonna now go and take care of some green camps, while GB going way up till the back of his base and now trying to get a green camp. He could have gotten these camps too, actually. This is a thing that you can do while playing when you're trying to harass and stuff. Go for your opponent's creep camps when you know where he is, when you've seen where his army is. If you know that he's a bit far away from you, just go for his creep camps, devoid him from creeping on those particular creep camps. That's a strategy that you can utilize, and I should actually change my vision to something that does exist instead of a fog of war. Some fiends coming in for GB, and GB will be almost done with tier 2. NoobyXD has not even started yet. Of course, the magic around this build mainly depends on mass ghouls, and going for a late tech is not really a problem. I have seen some games where some Undead players have utilized a solo Crypt Lord as well, which is very, very effective. So GB and NoobyXD may meet up here. Yet they're gonna meet up here. GB gonna go after those carrion beetles. NoobyXD no, completely ignoring GB and going in towards the base. Of course, these carrion beetles are slightly faster than your average units, so they will manage to outrun anything. You gotta be careful of them in that regards. The carrion beetles going after the acolytes, trying to chip off some HP, trying to damage those acolytes the best they can. Of course, they don't deal a lot of damage. Where's the Undead team, man? GB does have more number of units over here, while NoobyXD tries to attack the gold line of GB. GB is just fine, actually. He should be able to take care of these beetles without much of a hassle, and since he has the tech done and he has the second hero on the way, he can easily create some extra acolytes, and he should have started training one by now in the Hall of Dead over there. Now the Crypt Lord will be forced to run back. Okay, it actually had a pretty good item, Pendant of Energy and Claws of Attack +6. One more thing I found out about the Crypt Lord is that its attacks are slightly faster than your average Death Knight, so that's one more advantage that you can gain while using a Crypt Lord, but for the time being it needs to hide heal away. Now GB has no knowledge of this expansion as of right now. I mean, the Undead player, the opponent Undead player, not going for the teching and the timing should have given him the whole thing, but he did not scout this expansion out just yet. Now he spots it, and now he's gonna go after them acolytes. There is no necropolis setup over here. You don't really have to have that, but if you have a necropolis setup at the expansion, you can get some acolytes rebuilt whenever you need them. At a time like this especially. GB gonna go after that Nerubian tower. Here comes the army of NoobyXD. NoobyXD going after those fiends, trying to get a good surround over there. They're gonna back out a bit. Impale! Nice Frost Nova. Will manage to create an opening for those fiends to escape, and we will be NoobyXD pulling in some ghouls, it appears. Going right after GB's Fiends. GB does have enough mana on that Death Knight to get in more death coils. The Crypt Lord has no mana for any carrion beetles or any impale. A potion of mana would be useful, and with the latest updates on that potion of mana, it is slightly cheaper. Gives you a bit less mana but slightly cheaper, so it's worth it. Maybe want to have a second Ziggurat being dropped over here for NoobyXD, and he is going tier 3 from what I can see. A Death Knight is coming in as the second hero. Now here's the thing that you want to consider whenever you have a build like this as an Undead player. Your tier 1, you have little to no upgrades. The only thing that's trying to make a difference in this whole battle is your hero, and a Necropolis being dropped at the far side of the expansion. That's an interesting location for the Necropolis to be dropped. Of course, it'll be easily be taken out if he drops it somewhere here or something, and will block his way to defend his army too. GB is all over Nooby right now. Nooby currently sitting at about 50 food army, but where is his army? What does he have? Okay, he's got ghouls, some more ghouls at the back of the base. GB on the other side has only a 49 food army, and it's mainly consists of fiends right now. These fiends are tearing apart those ghouls one by one. Here comes the Death Knight for Nooby, and GB now getting the slaughterhouse. Should be getting in those obsidian statues real soon. The cigarette is also ready for GB. Level 3 on that Death Knight, and the Lich is almost level 2 as well. Apart from the usual Frost Nova, it's gonna get a second one. Most likely it's gonna be Frost Armor. Should take out that ghoul and get it right away, in my opinion. Or take out one of the skeleton warriors. There we go, level 2 on that Lich. A tight spot for NoobyXD. He is defending though, and he managed to repair the Nerubian tower back to full health. And of course, since now NoobyXD has a Death Knight as well as a second hero, he will be able to use the Death Coil. He doesn't have the Unholy Aura yet though. Oh, GB getting his Death Knights at a really vulnerable location. He's gonna have to use the TP. He's gonna have to use the TP if he wants to save his Death Knight. If there was an impale by the Crypt Lord, this would have been definitely been a dead Death Knight for GB. Lich would have been alive, but you need that Death Knight as well. You got another Ziggurat going down, and a third hero coming in for GB, and the third hero is actually gonna be the Vampire Dreadlord. Ooh. Orb of Corruption being picked up, and the spell that GB chooses to go for is Sleep. Burrowing down those fiends. NoobyXD now has a lot of fiends of his own, and this is a time for NoobyXD to try and recover some mana on that Crypt Lord. Pendant of Mana gives him extra mana, but extra mana capacity, that is. He needs to regen the mana. Without the mana regen, he won't be able to do much. We got a Temple of the Dam coming in. I don't see any meat wagons though. This may potentially be a Necro Wagon strategy by NoobyXD. GB will definitely need some destroyers on the way. Destroyers are likely going to be the thing that GB goes for. He's currently sitting at 50 food of an army, and destroyers are just staple to the undead. This does give away GB's third hero, that's the Dreadlord. Now, there's a lot of ways you can use the Dreadlord as well, but usually undead players go for a tanky hero like the Crypt Lord or the Pit Lord, which are a super tank. You can just keep it in the front of the army and let it take a huge beating. GB now going in to engage that expansion. Acolytes being pulled in. More Acolytes being trained at the Necropolis, the expansion Necropolis, that is. Here comes the army for NoobyXD with a lot of fiends and a lot of beetles. Nice impale, getting almost 50% of GB's army. They sleep on that Death Knight, and as long as that Death Knight is slept, GB will be able to do a lot of damage. GB, oh no, this is bad for GB. GB losing the Lich to the sniping. NoobyXD getting a Lich for himself. Something I didn't cover earlier. So far, matchup has been pretty good. Creeping with all three of his. Lich is coming back from the tower, from the altar. Should creep with the Dreadlord at this point. Try to get it to level 2 and. Carrion Swarm, yeah, why not? Get it, man. It'll be useful. It'll definitely be useful in this situation. Adapt training for the Banshee, so it appears to me that NoobyXD is not at all going for Necromancers. What NoobyXD is going for right now is Banshees. GB done creeping at the expo. And GB got Vampiric Aura as the second ability. I'm underwhelmed knowing that GB only has like the Vampire, the Dreadlord and the Death Knight that can actually benefit from that. They are the only melee units in GB's entire army, and NoobyXD currently having an army of 66, GB only has an army of 58. It's pretty close by, but the thing is that Nooby has an expansion, GB does not. This will hurt GB a lot, and counter expansion would be a good option for him. He is taking a lot of loss over there as far as the upkeep is concerned. A nice slow snipe down, sleep snipe down, I would say. NoobyXD is just running away. He does not want any of GB right now. Getting some destroyers on the field.
A player's forces are under attack.
Another sleep snipe down, it appears. Of course, Nooby does have two of those buildings, the two of the crypts, so he should be able to get two fiends back relatively easily. Some fiends being killed for GB as well. Both of the armies are pretty much into each other right now. Some death coils going across. We got leveling up for NoobyXD. GB losing a couple of units, it appears. NoobyXD doing a good job of targeting 2 units of GB at one time, so the Death Knight can only heal 1 of them. Nice death coil. GB isn't even trying to pull back the fiends though, and he can actually burrow them as well. Uh-oh, GB losing a Lich and forced to use the TP to go back to the base. NoobyXD is still having a bigger army, and if you actually observe the amount of DPS on that Dreadlord, which is, by the way, Dreadlord is a strength type hero, it is supposed to be able to take a beating, but they got it down to about 200 HP very, very easily. There is a lot of DPS going on around here right now on the army of NoobyXD. He does have the second attack upgrade for the Fiends and the first defense upgrade. On the GB side, he only has like 1 attack upgrade for the Fiends. Lich is coming back. We got a sacrificial pit at the back of the base by GB's playstyle. I know what's coming after this, and it may very well be necessary. The question is, Carrion Swarm would have just been a better thing in this one. Vampiric Aura, only the Death Knight and only the Dreadlord are gonna benefit from it. Nobody else benefits from that Vampiric Aura. Here comes the entire army of NoobyXD. Currently sitting at a army of 72 supply against 80. GB sitting at 42 against 70. GB's gotta be careful. He gotta go at the back of his base, try to defend with using some choke points at his base. And Impale only getting 2 units, but he got the unit that he really wanted. Lich will still manage to escape. The obsidian statue is kind of exposed. May want to turn it into a destroyer real soon. And maybe try and devour some magic over these summoned units. Get some Orb of Annihilation with that. There's a lot of anti-magic shells right now. Frost Nova will of course deal very much reduced damage. The Death Knight for GB was being targeted. Now the Dreadlord is being targeted. Oh no. And there we go. The good game.